like, because every trade you take will ultimately always be in the favor of what you're doing. So if you have triple arrows on the 4-hour time frame, then you already know kind of exactly what's going on, exactly how to handle what you're seeing. And then you're usually getting something along the lines of a Stairmaster setup. It'll appear to be a Stairmaster setup on the 4-hour, but ultimately it's a triple arrow setup on the 1-hour. So if you want to increase your profitability, like the best way to do that is to make sure that you're only taking trades when you get a trade on the 1-hour. Simply go to the 4-hour, see if it's in the same direction, or at least you have like a what we call the Stairmaster. So for those of you who have access to the pin post, at bare minimum, you at least have that. And ultimately, that's really all you would need to do. That alone, that one step alone, will give you the utmost difference in terms of your trading. Like, so if you are only taking trades that match, so you have a 1-hour, a 4-hour setup, you want to double check and make sure, okay, at this time frame. So let's say here, for example, let's see, do you have triple arrows? Okay, yes, you do, but they've kind of already played out. So you'd want to wait. See, because look what happens now. At the time that we drew that one, oh, that's not the same line. That's just a big old candle. Here's that line. So this one hasn't really played out yet. We're just now breaking past the 50. We retested it. So, but a lot of times what you're going to see when you take just a simple 4-hour entry is you're going to get in somewhere around here, and then you have this pullback, which is part of trading. And it's not bad per se. It's just hard to sit through, because ultimately you would have won that trade eventually, but you would have had to sit through that entire time frame for that to happen first, if you're seeing that, if that makes any sense to you. So that's the kind of the problem with taking multiple time frame trades. You want to make sure it's lined up on both. So that's the best piece of advice I can give you to get higher probability. The utmost, most important, bestest. Sorry, guys, we're admitting people to the meeting to the best of our ability and trying to control all those screens at once because Zoom is being a silly butt. And I will try to adjust that again tonight because it did not go through when I tried today. So we shall see. But are there any other questions, comments, pairs, things of that nature that you guys want to take a look at? Otherwise, I'd like to go over some charting with you. Because I do, like I said, I feel like everyone else is doing a exemplary job in terms of being able to find and drag and drop the triple arrow system.
Jenny,
Yeah,
I have a question. It says Jason, but I'm actually Jason's wife. We're like, my name is Kay.
Hey, Kay, how's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
I was going to say, you don't sound like a Jason, but I mean, I could be wrong.
He's with my 4-year-old daughter, putting her to bed right now. But yeah, so I have a question kind of concerning the 1-hour, 4-hour. What time frames are best for beginners to trade on? I know in some of the early PDFs and tutorials, Uncle P talks about trading on the M30. I felt like that was a little bit too volatile for me in the demo accounts. But I was wondering what your advice is on which time frame to start with.
Okay, so a year ago, I would have said the 4-hour, but now it's the move is too big, too long, and too volatile for that. So right now, I would say the 1-hour. It's just you have to understand that the market has quadrupled in some cases, at minimum doubled. Okay, and so if you look right here to my right, this one isn't a good example, of course. Go figure. But this is on average moving 145 pips per day on average in the last week, 100 pips on average in the last 12 weeks. And I promise you, this pair was closer to like 70, 60 was what this would have said a few weeks ago if we went back and checked. So when you consider the amount of volume and movement in the market right now, I would definitely say the 1-hour. Now, the 1-hour is going to be very, very volatile. You're going to have to get in quickly. Like, for example, you have your triple arrow set up and whatever your oscillators are. If you're following kind of team with Urban and you're not doing any oscillators, that's totally fine. If you're following kind of whatever Pat's got on his screen, and I probably should go to his video just to double check because I haven't been on his in a while. But whatever it is, your eyes see best. You have your triple arrow, or if you have access to the newer app that tool he is releasing, you still want some confirmation, such as like the break of the 50. So for example, here, you want to get in here. If you've already seen that this has moved, so let's measure. Like, so from right here, we get that break. If you were to look at the candle here and it's already moved 83 pips, you know that your average daily range is anywhere around 100 if we just took the average of all these three. okay, or the mid range of all these three, you know that you're going to have a pullback. This happened to be news, but you know you're going to face some massive pullback. So wait until you either get a retest or a stairmaster kind of setup to where you got, okay, you have new of the 4 hour dots to go in your favor. Otherwise, just wait. So if you can get in here, right, and it's in the same direction, that's great. Go for the smallest number, okay, or the mid-range number in terms of your average daily range, how much it's moving on average in the past few weeks. I mean, the really greedy person is going to go for the largest. The really short-minded person is going to go for the most recent. But if you take this as a whole and say, okay, I'm going to go for the most probable, which would be the lowest number or the average of these numbers, your success rate is going to quadruple. Like you're going to have 70-ish% or better, depending on your management success, if you just use the 1 hour, particularly if it's in the same direction as the 4 hour. But if you're deciding to do that, you ultimately need to ignore these time frames, because then what's going to happen is the 30 minutes going to say something else, 15 minutes going to say something else, everything's going to say something else, and it's going to trip you up. Versus say, okay, I'm trusting what I see on the 1 hour. It's in the same direction as the 4 hour. I don't have any known structure I'm running into. So I'm trusting this trade to give me the pips I need.
Gotcha. So you don't need confirmation from the lower time frames, just the higher?
No, so I've said this on other recordings, and I think that anybody who's been trading with the triple arrow system or really any reversal based system, people want to see what, like that dashboard where it says everything is saying buy, 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 buy. But what that actually means in reality is price is going down, 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 down. So I'm not going to fight a trend when every one of those arrows, are you using that triple arrow dashboard by chance? The one that has all the arrows right here?
I'm not using the MACD right now.
Oh no, sorry. There's like the big arrow dashboard. It's got
yeah.
the big. So if you have that big arrow dashboard right here, and every single one of them, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, everything is saying buy, that's not the best trade to be trying to enter. Because what that tells you is price is moving down with such force, nothing is stopping it. It tells you that price is continuously pushing down, even though everything is saying it's due a retracement. It doesn't mean it won't come eventually, but I'd much rather take a trade that like everything, like these first three on that big arrow dashboard is saying buy, and only the 1 hour and the 4 hour is saying sell. The daily and weekly can say buy. I don't care about anything else. I just need those two to line up.
Gotcha.
I don't need them all to line up. And I feel like that's given me the least amount of results in terms of using the triple arrow system.
Got it. Okay.
But does that help a little bit in terms of
It
just
does.
just don't go ahead?
Yeah, it's a lot for me to take in right now, but I
Sorry.
think I'll again a few times and then it'll make sense.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm really
I'm a beginner, so yeah, I'm sure it'll all come together.
So you know what the big arrow dashboard is we're talking about, right? The big arrow dashboard is the thing that has the arrows right here.
Yep.
Okay, so when you see all of them facing the same way, what that means is price is pushing the opposite way very, very hard. So like in terms of a new person, how and what to start to try to simplify it to the best of my ability is just simply to say, look, ignore everything else. You have to create a rule for yourself. That means you're going to ignore Jenny, you're going to ignore Pat, you're going to ignore really everything. And say, so if this trade lines up with my system, if this lines up with my rules, and you should have some written out rules of what makes your trade a valid trade. You need pieces of evidence to decide this is a wise investment, to buy it or to sell it. Ultimately, all you're going to do is say, okay, so this lines up. I'm going to take this trade because it matches enough of my rules. And the biggest piece of advice takeaway wise is just you're not looking for every time frame to agree. In fact, you're going to drive yourself crazy to find it, number one. And number two, when you do find it, you're often going to be wrong. So stop looking for it.
So I guess what kind of confuses me is how, like, I can look on the H1 and the H4 and feel confident, but I'm not sure I should be confident if all the other time frames are contradictory, especially like the master trend, like the monthly. Like I don't have the confidence to know that I'm right. And then maybe I see a pullback and I'm like, oh, I must have made the wrong decision, you know?
Well, that's a good point. So that the purpose of what I said in my very wordy way is that you should have the confidence, because look, this candle is 1 month, right? Let's take a reasonable size. Well, this isn't reasonable, but let's take this candle. That's a 900 pip month. So do
Okay.
you have any idea how many 50 pip moves in every direction this 900 pip candle had? It probably had anywhere from like 100 different moves, give or take, worth 50 pips, where it went up, it went down, it went sideways, it went up, it went down, it went down again. So it doesn't matter what this is doing unless you're trying, which most of us are quarantined. So we all know that no one on this call is only checking their charts once a week. No one on this call is checking their charts once a day if most of us are being honest, which we should be doing that. But if we're telling the truth, we're probably not. So since you're not trading in a way where you're looking at the day time frame, the monthly, weekly, daily has no value to you, none. Plus your stop loss and your account size would need to be so big to even trade that way. It's a moot point. So it's actually really against you. Your stop loss, if you wanted to take a trade based off of the triple arrows on the daily, your stop loss on this trade is what, 400-ish pips if we go beyond that triple arrow? You're not going to have a 400 pip stop loss, so quit caring about what the daily time frame is telling you.
Right.
It's none
That
of your
makes
business.
right. That makes a lot of sense.
So my hope is that I can give you confidence that the truth is, even if you took just the 1 hours, so let's say you ignored the 4, and I did this for a while with the triple arrows, I was just ignored everything else. The 1 hours will give you enough success if you have a good risk to reward ratio. If you have good management, and that means a lot of self-discipline, granted, and a lot more than most people have off the bat. But even if you only just looked at the 1 hour and you actively followed this on, let's say, 5 pairs, and they should not be the same pairs. So it shouldn't be 5 GBP pairs. Your success rate should be better than 70% given trades of the next 3 weeks. Even if you only follow trades on the 1 hour. Yes, they will repaint. You will have that happen. There's no way around it. But if you're using something like the 50 moving average as your kind of kill switch, I'm only taking them when they break the 50 moving average kind of setup. So that means you would ignore all the times that they repainted here and only took this one.
Right.
You're going to avoid most of the repaints, first off. And even that will be enough to get, if you're going for, like, for example, half of the ADR, never taking a trade that has less than a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So that means if it has that ugly wick kind of thing, you have to skip that trade because that means your stop loss is too big. You can totally do that and you'll have enough success. But bouncing around trying to get everything to line up is a fool's errand most of the time. And usually when everything does line up, it's because price is going the opposite way.
Okay. So can you explain the week ADR? I haven't seen that indicator before today.
So a lot of the indicators in SuperEZ, so that one actually came from, gosh, I forget his name now. I am so sorry. It's another SuperEZ member. It's something that I've been using for quite a while. So I gave it to I made sure it was okay with Pat. And it's one that's allowed in the SuperEZ group. So it's called the Bar Alert. And that is in the SuperEZ regular group. It's in the files. I'm not going to have somebody repost it on your behalf. I'm going to ask that you go into the SuperEZ Telegram group and actually look for it. So go into the files, look for Bar Alert, and I promise you'll find it. It might be a challenge because it's back there, but it is there. And ultimately, Bar Alert.
Okay.
So ultimately, it's just going to tell you the average daily range. Now, your MT4 comes with something that's comparable. It's just not as pretty. It's called the average true range. So this will tell you, depending on what I have it set at. So this was set at the last 14 candles. This will tell you exactly how many pips this has moved in the last 14 candles on average.
Okay.
It'll tell you that. It tells you the same information, just in a very different way. So one is the average daily range. This is the average trading range per candle. This is candle. This is per day, essentially.
Okay.
And it's really useful information because then you're not, everyone says, well, how many pips are you going for? It shouldn't be like I always go for 50 pips. And a lot of people sell programs like that. They teach lessons like that. I've even traded like that personally. So I'm definitely not above any single buddy else. But the truth is you shouldn't be going for the same amount of pips on odd CAD as you are. Let's look up EN. So not even a GBP pair. EN's a pretty fast mover. Granted, everything's moving pretty fast. So you see the average daily range on this, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Your stop loss can't be the same. It won't be enough. And your take profit should be bigger because it moves more.
Gotcha. Okay, that's really helpful.
Well, there you go. That's somewhere to start. So if you can honestly take 1 hour triple arrow system setups, I don't know what your chart looks like, but depending on what your chart looks like, that follow enough of your rules. So like on this one, we have MACD, currency strength indicator. I have four moving averages, and of course my 50 daily dots, 4 hour dots. So if I just use only what's on this chart and I say, okay, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus my triple arrows is 9. I need daily and 4 hour is 10, and an engulfing candle is 11. So if I tell myself, okay, I need 11 confirmations to take this trade, I will never take a trade that has less than 10. And you do that for 3 weeks, and your name is Kay, and you're Jason's wife, right?
Yeah.
And today's the 7th. So that means by the end of April, you should be able to come back and say, okay, so I took this many trades. I took, let's just say you found 25, anywhere from 25 to 50 trades based off of the amount of time you're putting in. And here's my accuracy ratio. And if you do that, there's like a very, very minute possibility you will have anything less than 70% accuracy if you simply follow those rules.
Great.
And then
Yeah.
I will review them for you. So like I'll allow you to share your screen. We will drag and drop your entries on there. It will be very humbling experience a lot of times, but we'll learn from it. I'll learn from you. You'll learn from me. And you'll see that, okay, wait a minute, when I follow rules, it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
You think you can do that?
Yeah, I have to make the rules first, but yes, once I do that, then I'm pretty good at following once I set it up. So yeah,
Okay.
just gotta make them. All right, thank you, Jenny.
You are welcome. Hey, real quick, Kay, what's your favorite oscillators? What are your, so the windows on the bottom of the screen, what are your favorite oscillators?
So I haven't really used a lot of oscillators. I'm mostly just doing triple arrows, the money tree. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're using mostly that, then you would have at least 5 or 6 confirmations on your chart. Your
Okay.
rules are pretty simple. So I would definitely recommend one oscillator if you're open to that idea, because at least it'll give you one more piece of confirmation that is not at the same level as price, that's calculated a little bit differently.
Okay.
And once you have that, follow those exact trades for 3 weeks. Go get yourself at least 20, 25 trades. I would say 100, but I'll be nice. And then let's see what your accuracy is. It should be reasonably high.
Okay. That sounds great.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for stepping up and being brave enough to talk. I know that's hard.
No problem. Thank you, Jenny.
You are welcome. All right, any other questions, comments, pairs, things of that nature for anybody at all? I know Donna's in the group. Let's see. Anybody at all? Not with this again. I keep losing control of my, there we go. So strange. Very, very strange.
It's not that Mac mouse, is it?
No, this is even the Windows mouse, I promise. And I love my Mac computers. Thank you very much. Just so you know, you big meanie. Hey, guess whose computer is not going to crash and does not have a virus? Mine. Just mine. How are you doing, Robert? I haven't heard from you in a while.
Hey, I'm good. Yeah, we just been busy here, so just watching lots of replays now.
Oh yeah, I bet. I can imagine everyone's got plenty of time on their hands. That's sure.
I'm still working flat out, thankfully. But it seems to be Saturdays and Sundays I'm catching up with everything you guys been going through. So it keeps me busy on the weekend, but it's good. I'm always learning lots, and it's a good group, lots of help.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait till you are withdrawing and you're doing super well and you're kind of accomplishing some of your goals. So I'm glad that you're here.
Thanks, Jenny.
You are welcome. All right, guys. Well, then in that case, if you guys don't have a preference of either charting or clicking through the pairs, your call. Because ultimately I'm here for you. And I'm pretty open about my thoughts, feelings, and life. I'm a little torn on, do I want to spend my time clicking through the pairs when you already have somebody's who do that? Or do you guys want me to chart with you? What do you want? Or what would be most advantageous for you? I mean, that's really the ultimate question. So 1,000%, totally up to you. Okay, I'm going to go to the one person who responded to something in the chat. Charting. You're smart, Tim. Very, very smart. And you have a good name. Charting on TradingView. Yeah, that is better. So since you guys have a few people who already clicked through the they already clicked through the triple arrow system. I feel like you guys are totally fine in terms of being able to click through that. You don't need me to do that. And the truth is, you don't even need the people who are doing it to do it, but they're volunteering their time to step up and kind of show you what is happening, like, and how we're doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Trading View. I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to show you again exactly how I chart. So if you guys have, if there's any volunteers on here, I will let you either control my screen, or I will have you share your screen and have somebody other than me possibly mark up some support and resistance on this chart to see how simple it is to just kind of find the flags, find the trends, find the supports and resistance. This is killer easy. It's super, super easy, I promise. Any volunteers? Anybody want to control my screen? And this group is such a tough crowd, man. Tough, tough crowd. This is my first day, so I'm watching and learning. Well, then be the brave one to step out on your first day. Come on. It'll be a good memory. And then when you,
Go Paula.
when you hit 6 figures, then you can say, you know what? Here's what I did. I was the one who stepped out on the first day when nobody else did it, and I'm brave and strong. All right, who wants to go? Y'all got to decide. Jason, Paula.
Paula's good to go, Jenny. She's just
Okay.
typed in there, what do I need to do?
Okay, then it'll be Paula then. So Paula, are you there? You got, first off, you got to be willing to talk. You got to unmute yourself. Can you do that? Let's see. Admit all. Okay. Waiting on you, Miss Paula. Well, you're unmuted, but we don't hear you. I don't know if you have sound on your computer. Your microphone is turned on, but we don't hear you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How's it going?
Yes, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. You're a little quiet, but I can hear you.
Okay.
So have you ever, first off, tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been trading?
Well, I started trading probably early 2000s, but I was trading stock and options. And that was about it. It was through a guy called Wade Cook. His name was Wade Cook.
All right, awesome. And how did you do? Are you at the point where you can, have you ever withdrawn, or you kind of just walked away for a while and then got back into Forex? Or
Yeah, I kind of just walked away, and I'm not working now, so I thought I'd pick it up again.
fair enough. Well, you have more experience than me, so you should be able to be better than me. Deal?
Okay.
Because in 2000, I was in high school. I wasn't even graduated yet.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
to
I'm
give you an
glad.
idea. But you sound so young. I hope that my voice sounds half as young as yours when I'm your age. Just half as young, I'll be good with that. So, okay, so
Yeah,
what I'm going to have you do is click on remote control, so you can literally control my screen. So I will walk you through this step by step, or do you want to see me do it once and then have you do it once?
Okay, what am I doing? Support and resistance?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you have a way that you do it, you're more than welcome to do it your way, and I'll tell you what I think and how I see it. Does it make one way better than another? I
Okay.
feel like they're pretty comparable.
I don't see remote control.
Okay, so on this Zoom window, the Zoom control panel, it says mute, start video, manage it, well, y'all's
Start
probably a little
video.
different. No, you can click on the one that is next to annotate. It says remote control.
Oh my goodness. I see me.
Well, I've got a messy bun on today. Y'all can't see that. It's all kinds of messy. I went on a bike ride before I got on here. It was fun though.
I don't see it.
Okay.
Annotate. I don't see annotate.
Is it maybe under more? Do you guys have Zoom on yours? Yours operations are different than mine. Can anybody tell her where to find?
Yeah, where your green bar is and it says you are viewing Jenny Baker's screen, it's got view options. So if you click
Okay.
that, it
Okay.
should
Oh,
say
I see.
annotate there.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
cool.
see it.
Thank you for whoever just stepped up. I appreciate you. Click view options
You're
at the top
welcome.
of the screen.
Click view options.
Yep. So you
Okay, I
should,
did that. I see.
So we're
So
recording.
the
remote-
mouse or
Yep,
do
the mouse.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Now, do I need lines or just start drawing?
Have you ever been on TradingView before?
No.
Okay, so before you, well, I don't know if you have control. I didn't get a request or not, but so ultimately, as soon as you request control, I will approve it, provided you can request it. Here's what I'm doing. It's very, very simple. This again, we're taught 1,000 things by 1,000 people, and at the end of the day, we have to find one that works for us. I don't personally believe that most of these methods are more superior or better in most ways than any other. And that's
Mhm.
just my kind of really well-rounded, pretty open and honest answer. What I do to find support and resistance is fairly simple. So we need something that's standard. And if I'm going to mark up charts, I'm going to use the 4-hour time frame. So I'll click on the 4-hour. I'll always make sure I reset my chart. Okay. I
Okay.
don't want to see the candles. There are ways to do it with the candles. Some people talk about bodies, some people talk about wicks. Some people only use the most recent high engulfing and the most recent low engulfing candle. Those
Mhm.
are all really good ways. But the most consistent and duplicatable way I've ever found to mark up charts and have any level of reliability was
To use
literally
the
just go
line.
to the line chart.
Mhm.
And then because of
Okay.
that, there's no more question, there's no more hesitation of what the price is doing or what's happening. So from there, I take the highest high on the chart and the lowest low. And that's kind of your structure, if you will. Like everyone has different, so if it will let me, silly butt. There we go. So that's it. From there, now that we kind of have our baseline of where price is at, you can look from where you're at in current price. You can go down to different prices. In terms of this particular pair on this time frame, we have plenty of structure around here that we can find some areas of interest, if you will. So
Mhm.
ultimately, kind of same concept. When I find my support and resistance line, so not my first and not my two largest and smallest, when I'm finding the ones in the middle, I need at least 2 touches in that zone. And remember, we're not thinking about something that's a straight line. We're thinking more of a zone, right? So a zone is something that would have some width to it, if in all fairness. So the most closest zone from where price is currently at, if we look to the left, is probably this one, kind of a tight zone. But see how we have a touch here? This one doesn't necessarily touch, but I promise you, if we click the candles, there's probably wicks right there. And again, a touch here. So we have 2 or more touches. That makes it a valid, support and resistance area. So
Mhm.
again, looking at this area, we have a touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here.
Mhm.
We're only looking for a few above and a few below. So that's a reasonably big zone. The first zone from where price is at is what? That one's only 50 pips. That one's what? 80 more pips. So 130 pips below, kind of same concept. And you can make as many or as few as you decide. If you can't find any on this time frame, you're more than welcome to go up to the next higher time frame. But kind of similar concept. This is a tricky one because I would be so turned off by how this looked that I would want to make this like a box personally, just because of how it interacts here, here, rejects off of here, 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 and here. So this, I would definitely want to see it as a box on my screen after this moment was over and I went to another time frame. And since I have to pick another one above that, we have this really weird sloping kind of thing that interacts also with this peak. So I'm going to kind of drag it a little bit lower and just that's it. That's literally it. And if we go to candles to see how that looks, most of that's going to be wick interaction. And most of it will fall in line with bodies. So you'll notice that this method of kind of charting usually matches more with the body than the wick. But remember, we're not looking at a straight line. And I kind of like the idea of the body more so than the wicks. So
Mhm.
legit, that's it. That's how we're finding our supply and demand, support and resistance. So we need at least
Okay.
2 above, 2 below where price is currently at. Supply demand is the highest and lowest. And then of course your trend line. So from the 4-hour time frame, if you reset the chart, your job is to find which way the trending market is trending, pick a line. You need at least 2 touches. So here was your downtrend. Oopsie, of course it's not going to let go. That's that not Apple mouse taking control, people. And then we broke out of that. So now we're in this kind of consolidation period. So for me to draw a trend line, if this was our downtrend, our uptrend is 2 or more touches up. Pretty simple. So that's if it will let go, pretty please. I said please. That's 1, 2, run it through. Kind of a lot of touches in this area. But now we're consolidating. Now we're creating that kind of flag pattern if people who want to see it that way. So around this area, I find the box. That's legit all I'm doing. Can you see kind of how I did that? Any questions, comments, all that good jazz? So I'm gonna go down to another time frame, see if I can't find a trend. I can't find another trend line that I like enough to be willing to draw. The flag has already been broken, so we can't even call this a valid flag. This could be in a channel, but it's not enough of a concrete direction. So that's it. Think you can do that?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna erase all this, remove my drawings. You have a certain pair you want to mark up?
Probably the pound New Zealand dollar.
Okay, let's go
Probably.
to GBP NZD. So you still have to request it to control my screen. You picked a good one because this one's a pain in the butt. So have fun with that. At least you'll have a challenge. I mean, we'll take it for what it is. That's ugly. So under the Zoom window, you have the option to hit more and hit remote control so you can control my screen.
Okay, so even though I just marked something on your screen, do you see that?
I
Right
see
there?
your line. Oh yeah, I can see the green that you're drawing. I'd probably pick a different color just because of the color of my candles.
Okay. I don't know where the colors are. Oh.
You're okay.
Let's
Do you want me to make it turn it to the line chart so you can see it differently?
let's do blue.
Or do you want to keep it at
Yeah.
candles?
I'll do the line.
Okay, I'll switch it to the line so you can see that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
in between now and then, I'm going to answer Juice's question. I scalp mostly indices at this point, and before that, I scalped a lot of gold, and a lot of GBP pairs, cryptos on weekends.
So you do the bottom first. Oh, I need a line. Where did you get that dotted line from?
Okay, so the dotted line comes. You can control my screen,
Over
which is
here.
what I was.
Over here. That's trend.
But you're not controlling my screen, so you don't have any access to it.
Hey, Paula, you might need to take the annotate off before it allows you to control the screen again, yeah?
Okay. Okay. Am I controlling it yet?
No. So you have to click on right next to, so it looks like a mouse that says remote control. So it should say something like request. Wait a minute. Let me see. Your name is Paula. I
Yeah.
just gave you, I think I gave you control. See if you've got control. Paula Jones is controlling it. So you've got, yep, that's your mouse moving, not me.
Okay.
So let me get, hold on real quick. Let me have my mouse real quick. Let go. Let me get it off the window. There you go. Now you control the screen.
Okay. So this is a trend line. Do I need to make the horizontal line?
Yeah. So if you go to where the trend line is,
Right here.
on the top left, yep. Click on it once. You're going to get a menu that pops up on that little arrow. Yep.
Oh,
You can
okay.
do a little ray. I like the ray. It's just a little bit smoother for me.
Oh, okay.
On the horizontal, well, not that one, but sorry. It's called horizontal ray. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go back here.
And it's going to have a bit of a lag because it's bouncing from my computer to you, back to my computer, onto Zoom, onto YouTube.
The horizontal, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just all over the place.
I don't think it was that one either. So go ahead and delete that one. It's okay. And we can play around. No, there you go. So remove drawing. Now let's go back. Oh, you've got it now. That's the right one. Once you click on it, horizontal line, horizontal
Line?
horizontal ray is good too. That one's good too. Yep. That's going to not give you the entire across the screen. It's going to only give you from where you place it down at.
Okay. So I have these scroll things in my way.
So you might have to scroll the chart from one direction or another. Yeah, that's what I had to do too. It was in my way too.
Okay. So how do I just keeps going back.
So that auto, let me see. Hold on real quick. You've got my mouse. I'm gonna annotate on what you're doing. So see this right here? Click on
Yes.
auto scroll. That'll allow you to kind of drag and drop the chart however you want to. So
Okay.
click on that.
It wasn't highlighted, but okay.
Oh my goodness, you have my mouse. Yeah, let me turn off this. Let me clear my messed up drawings. Okay, now try to click on that. Do you see where I circled? There you go. Now you can just drag and drop the chart wherever you want it.
Those all those things came back. Okay. So now I want to. Okay. Is that good? Or do I need to move it over?
I like it. It's good.
Okay.
Well,
And then
it's not down, but it's good. Remember,
Okay.
we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for proficiency.
Okay. So do I have to click on again to the horizontal ray, or am I still good?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, click on it again.
Okay.
There is a way you can multi-add, kind of like the multi-add function on your MyFitnessPal, but we don't have that clicked on right now. So you have to pick it each time. Go up to the horizontal ray.
Why am I not seeing it now? Oh, right there.
Yeah, there you go. So
Okay.
find the tip top of the chart.
Come on. Did it just move on me?
Yep, it's testing you, but it's good because we grow under pressure, right?
Wow.
Well, the cool thing is you can drag and drop that. So you can either A, you can delete that one and then refresh the chart, or B,
I'm gonna have to go back to auto and stop it from moving. I'm sorry, everybody.
you're okay. I promise. I'm here especially for you tonight. Just you. As if no one else in the world matters.
Okay, I don't see where I am.
So there you are. Yep.
No, come on. All right.
Let's leave that one there for right now. Now scroll your mouse
Okay.
to the bottom of the screen. Let's see. Scroll your mouse to the bottom of the screen. We'll let go of the chart and scroll to the bottom of the screen. There you go. And then right there where those annoying little things pop up, we want those to pop up real quick. So go where those annoying little things pop up. Yep, that circle. You want that circle real bad. That.
This
Hit
one?
that. Yes. There you go. Now you can see everything again.
Okay.
Does that look a little better?
I lost my
We can put that one back on. So that's okay. Now you
my
can
support. Okay. So now I'm just needing horizontal lines. Is that what you used?
horizontal. You can use either one, any of the line or the ray. So line or ray. The difference is the line goes all the way through, and the ray only goes from where you place it and then to the right.
Okay, let's see.
So from where price is currently at, which is that blue little stringy dingy on the middle of the screen, you're looking for 2 forms of support and resistance above it and 2 forms of support and resistance below it. And all this is going to do, guys, is give you areas of interest, like zones to say, look at me. When price reacts at those levels, they either break through or reject, then you know you have a valid trade. That's it. I like that one.
Uh-oh. Didn't give me anything. I have to go back and dip.
It's okay. The first few times I used TradingView, I promise you, I didn't know. I wanted to never use it again, ever. But the same thing, first time I used MetaTrader 4 and pretty much anything else in the world too. So
I like that one.
I like that one a lot. That one's good.
You like this one?
I do. I mean, I like it. So when I see this line that you drew, I still see a box. I don't see like some solid, skinny, itty bitty little yellow polka dot bikini line, but more like a big block. Like, because ultimately this is an area of interest and you have enough touches and rejections in that area that price is telling me, price has reacted in that area, which is all we're looking
I
for.
like this one.
Hmm I like that one.
Oh, why can't I just?
It's okay.
See, I have to go back and find it. Was it right here?
Hmm
It's right there.
There you go. So you've got three
Okay.
areas of support and resistance above where price is currently at. So now we don't care so much about what else is happening up there. We can see that one.
Okay.
But now
Okay.
we need three or two or three that are below where price is currently at.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let me do this first.
Especially because this pair happens to be moving down. So since it's moving down, we've got a pretty good idea. We want to know where it's going next. Price is going down. We want to know where it's going. It's definitely in some choppy area right now. I like
Mm,
that one.
okay. What is this?
It lets you like change the colors, the settings.
Oh, okay. I just thought maybe it was.
It gives you options. We live in a world with options. There's no longer one flavor of cereal. There's
Yeah.
9,000 kinds of cereal,
Yeah,
9,000 kinds of lines too.
good for me because it takes me forever to decide because of that.
That's true.
If you had one thing, I just have to get that and be gone.
This is true. The world will be a lot less complicated.
Okay. That looks like one.
I like it. Yeah. We've got at least two touches. It's kind of pointy points. It's hard to control somebody else's screen. So there you go. Good job.
Okay.
So if you click on the top, first off, way to go. If you
Mm-hmm.
click up there on that top part of the toolbar where there's a little line, but then it shows you a picture of like a Japanese candlestick. Click on that and let's
Yeah.
see lefter, more lefter.
Oh, over here.
Yes, ma'am. Click on that. So did price react at those areas pretty strongly?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yeah,
feel
I think you did okay.
I think you did too. I think you found the key zones pretty well. So if you had to look at this pair to say where price was going, where do you think it's going to next before it makes another decision?
I'm just assuming that it would go to the nearest support and
So,
hopefully it'll go through it.
so as a fellow trader, have you read that book by Mark Douglas called Trading in the Zone?
No, I haven't.
Well, that's a must read. You got to read that one. Okay.
Okay.
It's ultimately it's like the trading Bible. I promise you, it's a really good book. But in essence, to sum it up, a whole bunch of psychological stuff for the last few chapters. But the book basically is describing if it breaks or a zone, it's going to the next zone. If it rejects a
Okay.
zone, it's going to retest the previous one. So with
Okay.
that kind of psychology behind there, I'm going to use my control real quick. We know that we have a trend that's kind of going up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We broke that trend line. Let go. Thank you. So we broke that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of our flag pattern. Yicky, silly, but there we go. So we started heading down. Now we broke that again. These are that kind of perfect flag formations. Everything's perfect. Let go. Pretty please let go. There you go. I'm going to scoot this chart over. I'm going to go down one time frame. The one time frame. So one of the areas we missed, if I go back to the 4 hour, and we could see it on there, but I wasn't going to make a big fuss because of how close it is to price currently. And there is no 100% way. But do you see this peak and kind of this peak, this peak?
Yeah, I do.
Like there's this really important area, like it's just really in a zone. And then we don't have a lot that we can do about that, but I'll go back down to the 1 hour time frame. We know we just busted through a zone. So if we had to guess, this is the 1 hour time frame. We've definitely got some structure here. If we broke this structure, we know before we get the continuation of the upside, we've got a really safe, 15-ish pips, give or take, to the downside, because you're going to that next zone.
Okay.
So I'll turn it back to candles. We do have definitely some wick placement, so this does not count as coming to touch this area of interest. But remember, none of this is like a skinny line. It's all a zone. It's an area of interest. So if we happen to break this, we're coming down to here. If we reject off of this area, so we get wick interaction off of this area, this price point, then we're looking for it to trade back up. And that's really all we're doing. So when you guys are getting triple arrow setups, when you guys are using any of your oscillators, indicators, it doesn't matter which one, you're not looking, even if the RSI gives you a signal or the triple arrow gives you a signal, but it gives you a signal where there's nothing happening. There's no interaction with the trend line. There's no interaction with a break of a zone or what have you. Avoid it, because that's not an area you want to be trading at. And I hope that you guys write this down when I say that every single indicator, every single signal service, you should only be taking that signal or indicator or crossover or whatever when there's an area of interest. So I call it an area of interest. Other people call it a hot zone. Some people have funky names for everything. But ultimately, it's a zone. It's a support resistance. You're only taking trades at support, resistance, supply, demand, or interactions with trend lines. Anything that you get that's not that, you should not be taking ever. So for example, this was probably a triple arrow system. This was probably a triple arrow. Here was your first Stairmaster. And if you drew a trend line, which this trend line wouldn't exist at this point, but it would exist by here, you would have a valid trend kind of going up. So when you get a triple arrow kind of Stairmaster set up with the daily dots or the 4 hour dots here, you know where it's going. You're taking it because it broke or retested the trend line. And up here, when you get the retracement, okay, you're taking it because it rejected off of this zone, this area to the left over here. It rejected off of a known zone and a known area of interest. You're taking that as a pullback based off of that information. Does that maybe hopefully help you see the way you're using the triple arrows, the way that you're using a lot of the trading systems? I don't care if it's a triple arrows or any other system for that matter. It's ultimately the same kind of concept.
Okay.
But that's it. You definitely have to read that book. It's very, very important.
I would do that. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's still moving down. I think that we have, let's take a look. How many pips do you think we're going to get out of this? How many is that? Let me move it to the left. Does anybody have any questions in terms of finding areas of interest, support, resistance, supply, demand, anything along those lines? Finding a trend? Anybody at all? The author's name is Mark Douglas. I think he has a couple of. That one's just the best one. This odds are we'll give you a 40 some odd push pip.
I had a question.
Yep, go ahead. Come on out.
For the pound dollar.
Okay. Do you want to take it? Well, first off, Paula, can everyone say good job, Paula? We know it takes a lot to come
Thank
out.
you.
So much.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Paula.
Thank you, everyone.
Great job.
Great job, Paula.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Good job, Paula.
Thanks.
I love when we support each other. So that's awesome. And I'm proud of you. I know it's hard to be up here, but I promise it'll be good. So your job then is to use that kind of mentality and mark up your charts every week and then see how many of prices interact with or reject off the zones you drew by the end of the week. And if you do that once at the beginning and once at the end, it'll take you less than 2 hours a week and you'll learn an exponential lot about trading and yourself. Fair enough. Can you do that? She probably muted herself again.
Oh,
Well, great.
Yeah, I
Now
can
I
do
got
that.
a fire alarm going off in my building.
Ooh, whoever's got the fire alarm, please don't unmute yourself. Okay, that's crazy. But okay, Paula, you do that every week and then come back in a few weeks and tell us how it's going, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for stepping up. Now, the
Mhm.
person who asked about GBP USD, real quick, what's your question? Did you want to mark it up together or what did you have in mind? Oh,
We'd love to, but I'm the one with the fire alarm, so maybe next time.
okay. All right, you can type it. I hope that there's not legit a fire, but here, let's kind of go over what we're seeing in terms of this. I know, let's see. Let's go to the daily time frame. This is we know that this had some fundamental news. I don't want to be inaccurate when I say stuff, but I'm pretty sure that had to do with the prime minister being in the hospital with in critical care, and that really affected the GBP pairs. But it did have a triple arrow setup also. So having said that, that's an enormous break to the downside. And I'm going to click just for general purposes and to one more higher time frame to kind of see what we're looking at ultimately. So we definitely are coming, we hit that area and we broke it.
I got to it.
Okay, we broke this area. I muted you, sorry. We made a lower low, but we didn't have any body closes below that lower low. So there's that. But again, if we take the same kind of concept and we go to the line chart to see where price is currently at. Now, granted, this is a higher time frame. This is too many pips away to be relevant for us because we don't really care what's happening. Oopsie, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. From where price is currently at to here, we don't care what's happening 700 pips away from here. We care what's happening in and around where price is currently at. So we're going to ignore that for the purpose of right now. And we're going to kind of mark it up from here. We are at a really strong area. So this is October of 2017. God, that was forever ago. So we finally broke below that low. We broke it pretty hard. And if you look at this like a zone, don't look at it like a straight line. Okay. You have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch. We broke through it, but ultimately couldn't stay there. So we broke back above. And then here we are. This was obviously extreme economic situations that pushed us to that level. But this is a very, very strong level of interest, an area of interest. So now this is a much higher time frame, but we kind of needed one because of the amount this pair moved. We had to go to a slightly higher place. So again, same concept. Here's a touch, here's a touch, here's a touch. We're definitely at that area. So now I'm going to drop down one more time frame, look a little bit closer to see what we can find now that we're kind of seeing where price is at. We broke. That's pretty valid. I'll keep that one there. I won't adjust it. We did break above it. So where would price be going now? Again, this is a pretty high time frame, but this pair moved an awful stinking lot. So that's a huge drop. And we've officially retested 50% of it, give or take. If we measure from here to here, that's 1,600 pips, give or take. So now we're going to measure how much it pulled back from here to here. It's 800, 900 pips, give or take. So we've officially retested 50% of that move. I'm just kind of explaining to you how I'm seeing it. For the person who said they lost so much on GU, they're done with it for the week. Yeah, a lot of people made a killing on GBP pairs. I did not. I was trading NAS. I did not see much other than NAS. So, but having said that, just to kind of continue to analyze this and seeing what we're seeing in general in terms of just the bare naked chart, all else aside, we're looking for, again, just areas of interest. So you've got some resistance here. You've got this area here where price is kind of interacting with. So if we do get the breaks above that, like we think we're going to get, I think that Miss Paula has still got control of my screen. Hold on. Remote control, I'm going to abort that because something funky is going on. Let's find out if this works a little better. In theory, everything does. So there's a touch, there's kind of a touch, a lot of interaction in this zone. And again, we wicked hard off of that. So this is the daily time frame. We had to go that big, guys, because the move was that big. We need to see the bigger picture. So now we're finally on the 4 hour, which is where I would typically start if there wasn't some colossal move. We're in between these two areas, but we're at this kind of this zone here, if you will. So you can already see we rejected off of here and rejected off of that same area here. So you can see that faint blue line is where price currently is. So again, we got our breakout. We could retest this and then see the upside potential. But with this much, how do you say, fundamental news, you're still at this point trading in the zone. So in that case, when this kind of stuff happens, if you can picture this big ugly box here, that's you were in a zone until we broke out, right? Now we're still in this other zone, this new zone. We broke below it, kind of played around, broke above it. We're really playing on this pair. So for me to find an entry that I love, I don't love them. We finally pushed up. This is our kind of flag formation as I'm going through different time frames to tell you how I see what I see. Does it make it better, more right, or anything else? I'm just kind of sharing that knowledge with you. So again, we already know that was a huge push down, 1 hour time frame. Now we're finally pushing up and now we're consolidating. So are we going to see the downside more? Possibly. If we break this zone, I would take it to here personally. So that's a really safe level of pips. So what is that? 100 and some odd pips. Pretty safe. If we reject off of that zone, I'm taking it back up to here. That's how I would personally trade this. And because there's so many pips in this, I would hop down to this 1 hour time frame and get a whole bunch more clarity. So again, kind of really straightening up my lines based off of the high and low here. So in this case, let's make let's do a horizontal ray, but let's make it a different color. Let's make it something that kind of stands out so we understand this is the high on the 1 hour time frame. And then again, going to the same concept where we refresh the chart. So refresh it. The low on this time frame doesn't even start till over there. So the lowest low is here. I would have to tighten this up a bit because this move is just so big that it's too much. So now again, going off the same concept of trying to find the most relevant support and resistance closest to price above it and closest to price below it. But this time using the 1 hour time frame because, well, this one's moved a whole stinking lot. Here's price, and I'm going to start with below because price is aiming down, although we're getting that kind of rejection there. So aiming down, looking left. We've got a point here. Here doesn't really line up. Definitely a couple of points worth mentioning here. The date's all the way back to here. So do you guys feel like that might be a good spot? Lord only knows why I'm getting so much wiggle room. Oh, I know why. The magnifier is turned on. I was like, what is going on? It's possessed. Okay. There we go. So somewhere in and around this area. You guys see how we got a touch. This doesn't really count, but I'm going to definitely say that's the most important area below it. So looking for another important area below. I like the one we previously drew because this is kind of the rejection. This has some interaction, point and touch. I really like it. If I'm looking for another zone above it, so starting with the left, here's some interaction. I think that one's a bit too close. I would definitely go more close to up here. And we've got a lot more supporting data for that, a lot more touches. So 1, 2, 3 interaction, 4, 5, a whole bunch of squiggle interaction here. That gives me my zones of, okay, so what do we see in terms of what's possible? Right now we're aiming, now I'm going to zoom in this way closer. Looks like we're turning around. We may or may not be. We don't know what we don't know at this point. But if we broke through this zone, I'm trading it up. If we broke through this zone, I'm trading it down. It's very, very simple. Super naked, nothing else. And when you get arrows or anything, you still need to know that you're trading those arrows based off of rejection or important areas of interest, that you're trading those arrows based off of an actual important place. Because if you're just taking them and it's like right here and you're getting an arrow, there's nothing happening. You want to make sure you're only happening them with, you're trading them in areas of interest. So does that help even a little bit? Hopefully. Baby amount. That's about the zones I would pick on this pair. So it's kind of a lot, but in all fairness, it's a lot of a move. And most of that was based off of fundamentals. So in which case, most traders are going to say, hey, I either won or lost big on that trade, and now I'm going to walk away for a while. Because now you have to wait for the price and the market to like finish freaking out to decide which area it wants to go. And now a silly trader is going to try to catch the rest of the drop, or they're going to try to catch that buy and be wrong 18 times. And then finally, the time that it starts to go back up after that huge drop was the time that they were right, and their account couldn't hold it anymore. So they're done trading. But this is a huge, huge move. So you need a lot of area. You need a lot of zones, if you will, in this one, because that's 300 pips, whereas on most pairs, it's not. So now that you guys have this, this is recorded. I'm thinking it might be recorded. Actually, I don't even know. Oh yeah, it says live. So this is recorded. So you guys can go back to this and then look at these price points and see if anytime in this coming week, did price interact at these areas? Did it break and then retest so you know you were buying? Did it reject so you know you had a valid sell? That's all these areas are. So when you get your triple arrows, come back and take a look and say, okay, I see this and I know what's going to happen. Somebody said in the group that literally happened to me. Tried to get it, but to get the buy, yeah, everyone was trying to buy it. So once we got to about here on this sell, let's go to a bigger time frame. We were getting to here on the sell. Everyone said, "Oh, it's got to turn around because there's support." Oh, it's got to turn around because, well, it rejected here. It's definitely not going to break past here. Plus, obviously, we slowed down a little bit, and then again, we had more support over this way, so everyone started to buy, but it kept going and going and going. So all these orders got knocked out, and it blew tons and tons of accounts. But our job is to wait till we get confirmation and not just guess. It's hard, even for me. I am not exempt from that rule, that's for sure. So that's a big move. My job now is to say, hey, this is none of my business, and I need to stay away until it figures itself out. And I'm okay with doing that. You guys have 28 other pairs to trade, plus indices and Forex and stocks. You've got oil, thousands of other things to look at. When you see ugly stuff like this and you missed it, you either won big or lost big, go to something else. Really, we have no business playing in this until it gives us a clear direction. And right now, we don't really have one. We've got the month time frame, which says we need to go up. But with everything going on in our economy, we're officially in a seller's market. We're in a bearish market. We may or may not get that at all. So that's my take on that. Last pair I'm going to go over real quick from somebody in the chat, and I got to get a drink of water because I've been talking for a long time. Was Australian USD, right? I can't find it now. Okay, yeah, Australian USD. There we go. So real quick, 4-hour time frame. Does whoever said that want to mark this up? It's pretty simple. It's not hard. Okay, well, then I will go ahead and continue. Same kind of concept. Make sure the chart is kind of lined. You need some fundamental kind of foundational level. I'm going to go off of an area that has at least some level of more than one touch. I'm not going to go more to the left and go digging. Same kind of concept. I'm going to scroll over. I got to get my line a little bit better and just kind of find the high and the low. So I've got my high and my low from where price is currently at. I don't care what's happened 90 years ago. That's none of my business. I care about what's happening now. So based off of what's happening now, pretty simple. I have my lines. I am on the 4-hour time frame. This hasn't made some colossal move that I need to be terrified of. I'm just going to kind of keep it super simple. Price is here. It's pointing kind of up. So my first, looks like a lot of these pairs are trying to turn around, probably because it's Tuesday. That's weird. But my first area that I'm going to mark up is wherever price is currently going. So I've got to look to the left and say, okay, we've definitely rejected off of this area. We have some supporting data, not a bunch. Don't love it, but I'll count it because it's the closest kind of most relevant area. This is too close to really have any significance, especially on Australian to USD. So it's a little too close for my blood to say, hey, this really matters. If this was a different pair, I might care about this area. But on this pair, that's such a minute move that I really don't mind what's happening in this kind of baby move area. So none of my business. Paul, yes, this class is kind of meant for newbies. That's correct. Is that going okay? I hope so. Anyways, looking for the next area. This has one touch, but it's a clear touch and it's the only one on screen. So we have to decide of, do we want to make it bigger or do we want to make it smaller? So in terms of this pair, again, you have to realize that Australian USD is not a very fast mover. So how you mark up pairs is going to be a little bit of an individual experience in terms of how they move, your familiarity with the pair, among other things. So for me, I'm going to let this kind of be a zone or an area of interest, and I'm going to go all the way up to here and say that's enough room for me. Because in and around this area gives us a little bit of a bigger zone. And if price comes in here, I might look at this more thoroughly on a smaller time frame. But for now, since I'm only looking for 2 above and 2 below, this is how I'm doing it. Yes, this is a different platform. This is TradingView. And if you're trading, you should definitely know what TradingView is. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit complicated for those of you who are new, but ultimately it's just meant to give you guys different perspectives and different ways to see trading. So you guys can learn in a whole bunch of ways. Wow. So Paul, what we're doing is we're marking up charts. We're finding support and resistance. How long have you been trading? Can you unmute yourself? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and continue, and this will be the last one. Okay, so so you have a rejection here and a rejection here and a rejection here. This gives you different kind of areas of interest just to know where price is reacting. And then, of course, I'm going to look for the next one. That one's really strong. It has enough points for me to take it seriously. So I'll take that one too. But since it's so close, I'm going to have to look for one more because that's really, really close to where price is currently at. And that's it. So I said Paul, not Paula, but that's it. That gives me some idea of where price is going to go. So it's kind of same concept. Right now we're in the middle of the zone. So we're not taking a trade in the middle of the zone. We're going to wait till it breaks this and retest to take it up, or breaks this and retest to take it down. So if it rejects, we're going to take it back down. If it rejects, we're going to take it up. It's really fundamental, simple trading. For those of you who thinks this is too advanced, I'm really sorry. This is meant to be like very level beginner stuff. This doesn't come close to the level of expertise and talking we do in the advanced membership group. This is basic trading. Wow, my ums are coming right back out. So for the private message people, here's the deal. You guys are part of the SuperEZ group, and it's meant to be super easy. It comes with great indicators and an amazing team full of like the world's best people. These classes are meant to hit different people from different time zones and different eyes of the way that we see things differently. So having said that, we want to teach things that will give you guys foundational and fundamental knowledge. So the goal is not to confuse you, but all this is, guys, these are candlesticks. This blue line is price. It's just shown in a different way. I mean, this is uber level beginner stuff. You're okay if you can't unmute. It's okay. The class is it's about done anyways. It's late. So it's the same thing no matter how you're looking at it. It's not uberly complex. But this is stuff you're going to want to know. These are basic level things. These are not overly complicated. This is not, pivot levels and quarter theories. And this is not Fibonacci. This is not hugely difficult. So I promise I'm trying to keep it very, very, very simple. But if you have any beginner level questions, please step up and ask them. Otherwise, I think that anybody who's using the triple arrow system or anything else really needs to understand some foundational abilities to chart. So, and yes, KP, a systematic approach is great. So, but with that said, that kind of shows you how to find support and resistance and answers a few questions. But that's about it for tonight. If you have any other questions, please write them down for next week. If you're not already in the advanced membership group and you feel like you're prepared to grow on a different level, We are going to be hosting a contest in which I'm kind of working with Pat on some of the details. I'd like to be able to offer either more prizes or a larger amount of money for everybody who participates. And those things are going to be fast paced. They are not meant to be slow. They are meant to be immensely fast paced. We've taught a couple strategies, and one of them particularly is working incredibly life-changingly well. We have a couple more. I have several that I'd like to teach, and it's a lot of information. So if you're interested or you're there and you have the capacity to start growing at a different level, by all means, come join us. It's awesome. It's getting more excited. Tons of feedback saying, "Oh my gosh, people are withdrawing insanely well." Super giddy, teary-eyed smile of how many lives we're changing. It is a lot to learn at once. So if you're not there yet, I would definitely recommend come get familiar with me, hang out with me on Tuesday nights a little bit as part of the SuperEZ group, get comfortable with how fast I talk, and the different ways we see and do things, and then kind of wait a little while to come join. So other than that, I hope you guys all have an amazing night. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for those of you who stepped up. Way to go, Paula and Kay. I cannot wait to see kind of what happens in the next few weeks, and to see if you can bring me some winning trades or some trades that we can review together, because that ultimately is going to be what makes you a good trader, is when you have somebody who can hold you accountable and review where you're doing and how you're doing it. That is the best form of coaching you will ever get. And I will do that with you for free as part of the SuperEZ. Come and let's review your trades together. So other than that, I hope you guys all have an amazing night. Take care. God bless. Love on each other. And
See you later, Jen Jen.
good night.
Thank you, Jenny.
Good night, guys.